Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is Geography 21 and 22, which are the intermediate and advanced GIS courses. My name is Jeffrey Miller, your instructor for this semester. Welcome. Today, we're going to cover both courses. I'm pretty sure every single person in this group has already been with me at least once, whether it was last semester or a year ago at this time. So the thing is that this is two courses. There are two courses of record that you're all signed up for, and at least most of you are. There's a handful that have already taken Geography 21 last year, so some stuff will be slightly repeated, but the majority of you are here to take both courses. And what we had to end up doing was they're not combined in terms of the record, in terms of your transcript. So you will get 6 credits, 3 and 3, for attending these two courses. However, and this is a pretty unique situation, since the enrollment isn't as high as we would have liked. As far as Canvas is concerned, I had to go ahead and combine the courses together into one Canvas place. So that doesn't mean that you're going to get necessarily 2 courses for the price of one, in the sense of the amount of work. It is a heavier load for the semester than what you're probably expecting. And that's because it's 2 classes. It's meant to be 2 classes, and you're taking them, but you're taking them at the same time, kind of in the same place, if that makes sense. So let me do this. Take some time. I have 2 syllabus to cover. I'll try to run through them quickly so that you get a sense of what I'm talking about. Again, since most of you have already been with me before, you kind of know what this procedure is like as far as how my courses run: online, asynchronous, quizzes, labs, lectures, that type of thing. It's all pretty much the same type of stuff, okay? At least the style is concerned. So let's get into the first syllabus, which is for Geography 21, and that's posted right here on Canvas. Okay. All right, so we're talking about 21 is the name of the course, is the number of the course, Spatial Analysis with GIS. Again, so if you've already taken this from the past, you can kind of disregard, because a lot of this will sound very similar, very familiar, because it is, right? It's repeated material. Nevertheless, still relevant, and most of you in here have not been in this class yet. So we're offering 3 units for this class. Like I said, treat them as kind of separate on the record. Get in touch with me here or on Canvas. I think you guys, most of you, like I said, if you've been with me, you know how to reach out. It's an asynchronous online class, okay? So no scheduled Zooms. Also, for office hours, I'm going to make them by appointment only, at least right now, as we're starting out the semester. That doesn't mean that you should not visit me. It just means that I don't have a specific time window set aside each week. This could be good or bad. I mean, I'm open. My job is to be available as often as possible for you guys, and my goal is to do that. So yeah, I mean, I might get 3 or 4 separate appointments. I might get none in a week. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But as it's outlined right now, what I'd like to do is have you guys email me first, and try to schedule something, put it on the calendar. I just have a lot going on this semester, and so it'd be helpful to me to kind of arrange it into my schedule, as things are already kind of planned out week by week. But I promise I'll do whatever I can to try to support you. Okay, just reach out. I'm not scary. I hope not. And some of this stuff it's technical. Some of it might be kind of daunting, especially when we get into the programming material. Whoops. And I just want to make sure that you guys have the support you need. So don't be shy, reach out, and let's chat. I'm not going to require any textbooks, so all of the material will be slides, videos, that type of supportive material. I'm going to provide it all for you guys. Okay, so you'll see it week by week as we go along. Just kind of follow my lead, basically. We are using, just like before, we're using ArcGIS Online. If you lost your access or you need access or something like that, I mean, again, since you guys are continuing on from before, we should have gotten over most of these hurdles. So I wouldn't expect this group to kind of ping me a month in and say, oh, I never logged into ArcGIS Online. It's like, that's crazy. So, we'll bounce back and forth between Pro and Online. We'll do more maps themselves with Pro this semester for sure. The more advanced you get in GIS, you lean towards more of the desktop local kind of software. And Online is making strides. It's getting there where they're adding more tools, but Online is still more of a kind of a web sharing. That's the real plus of that. But nevertheless, you'll notice the same type of procedures where, say you work on a Pro project, I want you to post it online, kind of get in that routine, and then take your links from online, post them on Canvas. Very similar to like what you've done before. Just again, a reminder, ArcGIS Pro does not run on a Mac, does not run on Apple Mac computers, right? So you have to have access to a Windows computer. I believe there are still a few out there that we have on reserve. So if you need to reserve one, just let me know, and I'll make sure to set you up with our administrator, so that you have to go through a process to actually check it out. It's the school's property. Also, we have computers in the library and the learning connection. There's a few set aside with Pro on there. So again, really no excuses for 2 months in and you say, oh, I just don't have a computer, I haven't been able to do the assignments. It's kind of like, dude, we should have checked in on that way earlier than this, right? Cool. So keep going here. Again, this is focused on the 21. So, a lot of this information here that I have printed, I'll just be straight with you guys. A lot of it is kind of pulled directly from what's called course outline or record. So, as I'm saying these things, as you're reading these things, more or less, just note that there is some deviations we might take. And so the goal is to try to hit all of these benchmarks, but some we will not. And we will actually introduce other technologies and tools that are potentially not even in this document. So just letting you know, just putting it out there. But if you think about real world applications, quantitative techniques, multi-layered, that type of thing, hands-on GIS, of course, that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to move on from the kind of foundational tasks and tools, and the vector processing. We worked a lot with vectors, right? Points, lines, and polygons in the past. And we're going to move into now processing, working with different types of data sets, different types of geo data sets. And what I mean specifically is image-based data sets, and other types of three-dimensional types of data. So let's keep going, and I will talk about that in a second here. The outcomes and you should be able to do these things. Yes, again, we're going to try to hit all of these, but again, that's not necessarily in this specific order, or, like I said, we'll try, but I have other kind of tricks in my tool bag, or things to introduce to you that that may be beyond this scope here, just being upfront with you. So if you go, hey, we didn't learn this very specific thing, here's the reasons why. Okay. So I'm going to jump down here to where I started adding some of my my own content here, my own spin on this. And we're going to focus on a technology called, not right away, but within a few weeks of the course, we're going to focus on a technology called remote sensing. And remote sensing is a kind of a blanket term for when you're working with data other than vector data, essentially. So it can be a combination of imagery and vectors, just imagery itself, other types of active sensors where you're gathering, 3D models or something to the like. But yeah, that's what we're going to start exploring, more of that type of data. And the remote sensing process is kind of what we're going to dig into and look into the theory behind things like aerial photography, things like, satellite photos, laser scanning, drones, this type of stuff, all kind of fits within this umbrella of what is remote sensing. So sensing the Earth, cameras, remote images, airplanes, satellites, kind of like what Google Earth looks like, but we're going to dig down into a much more detail beyond just, and Google Earth is great, don't get me wrong, it's a phenomenal GIS in itself, but we're going to get in a lot more detail using ArcGIS Pro on some of these remote sensing techniques. So let's see. Wanted to share that so that you go, all right, when you look at the material, it kind of makes sense, the direction we're going, okay? What I've found is that, in a GIS career, you're likely to kind of travel down one specific path as you learn more and more, not just your skills, but what you enjoy doing. And so my goal from the very beginning of when you start this program with me, my goal is to expose you to as many different GIS related types of disciplines as possible. And remote sensing definitely falls into that category. So am I expecting you to be an expert in aerial photography? Absolutely not, right? But do I expect you to kind of understand it to the degree of being able to work on some projects for a company if you get hired? Yeah, absolutely, right? Or having that skill set, or at least that little bit of knowledge to set you apart if you interview somewhere, something like this. So yeah, like what can you do with remote sensing? Well, you can do things like mapping large forests, let's see, tracking weather, erupting volcanoes, storms, tracking growth of city changes, a lot of measuring change, what's called change detection. And aerial photographies do a great job of doing that because you have this scale of, this big order of magnitude in the scale, and you can visually see, not just visually see, but you can run different processes to analyze what's changing, right? There's new buildings there's new roads, how much of that has been, right? Rather than just the visual, how much quantitative information has been added there, right? Or how much roads can you quantify, I think is a better way to say that. So we're going to get into, a lot of image data, 3D data, kind of getting much deeper into, like I said, things beyond just points, lines, and polygons. That's the goal of Geography 21. Excuse me. And so, like you guys know, okay, this course is online, asynchronous. There is no Zoom meetings, regularly scheduled Zoom meetings. Frankly, there's no attendance, at least not where I'm checking in to say, hey, are you here or not? But really, I consider your participation to be you turning in the work every week, right? It might be one lab, it might be two labs, might be two labs and a quiz, whatever the case may be. I am counting your attendance as, you know, your participation basically fills the whole of fills the attendance requirement. Let's put it that way. Okay. So yeah, lectures and labs and discussions. What I put out there, since this is asynchronous, it'll all be pre-recorded stuff. And then you'll have labs, several labs. I'm looking at over a dozen labs for the semester. Now that's including both 21 and 22, by the way. So I'm going to get into 22 in a second here. But there's going to be a lot of work. I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. This course is going to be a lot of work. And when I say that, I don't mean, I really am not trying to scare you off. I just am trying to be honest with you and set the expectations. But again, the other thing about it too is, as you guys know, my deadlines are there, for my due dates are there, but you know, within reason, they're not firm to the sense of you get a 0 if you don't turn it in on time, kind of a thing. Now, if you haven't done anything and it's week 10 and you haven't done 10 labs at all, any of the 10 labs, and you come to me and say, hey, can I turn them all in now? I'm going to say, well, I'm going to have to dock you some points, right? But it's meant to be kind of a placeholder to say, okay, do the work on time so that you can stay on track and don't fall behind. That's the idea. So there'll be several labs, ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Pro, mostly Pro type style. Let's see. You will be submitting your labs in discussion pages, discussion prompts like before. Screenshots are acceptable. The links, the little embedded code, all of that stuff is great, as well as, you know, in addition to your comments about your experience. And I know not all these labs are perfect. I know there's typos. I know there's things where you start doing a lab and you go, hey, that tool isn't there, or that button wasn't what the lab said it should be. And by all means, you know, my intention is not to make this more difficult on you. I want it to be as smooth as possible, but sometimes the software changes and I haven't updated my material, or, you know, I didn't know about it. That's kind of how it goes usually. I try to keep things as current as possible. And if you run into any issues, certainly put the notes in the discussion board. And also, I mean, reach out to me and say, hey, this part isn't working, dude. And let's do a Zoom about it, right? Let's figure that out. Okay, there will be some quizzes also. Yeah, I think quizzes, I haven't decided for myself if they're going to be quizzes or like several small quizzes or 1 or 2 exams. Stay tuned for that. Again, since we have coming to kind of combine these 2 courses into one on Canvas, it's making things a little bit unconventional, but just note that there will be some quizzed or examed type you know, reviews on your end as far as grades are concerned. You will have to do some of that. There will be a final project at the end of the course. So no final exam, I can tell you that, no final exam, but some type of final project. Now, the final project will be, I know what I've put here is not exactly the most detailed. So you're like, well, what the heck kind of final project am I supposed to do? But let me just put it this way. As far as what I have in mind for you guys, I'm thinking about having you put together your own what's called story map. And the story map will be about your experience in the Chabot GIS program. So kind of taking all of the experience you've gained, all of the skills, the theory, you name it, all of the things you've learned with me on this journey, and putting it into a story map, which is in its own kind of way a website, right? It's a place for you to share your experience. It's a place for us to you know, share, not just you share it with your peers in the class, but for us to share it potentially with the world with people that might be coming and signing up for this class in future generations. So kind of just think about that as far as like, or put that in the back of your mind as saying to yourself, like, okay, there's going to be something to the end of the semester, like a culmination of what did I do in my GIS program. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it. And then as far as details and guidelines, I'll definitely provide those to you guys, about halfway through the course or so. It's not going to be an overwhelmingly difficult project, I don't expect. So you'll get, 2 or 3 weeks at the end of the class, at the end of the course, basically May, to work on it and submit something at the end. Okay. Yeah, your grades, straightforward. As far as the points are concerned. Once we have figured out exactly how many points there are, then the amount that you've earned divided by, the amount gives you some kind of percentage. So there it is. Straightforward stuff. If you need any help as a DSRC student, please reach out to me privately and I will do what I can. Again, since this is online asynchronous, it's kind of up to us to determine the best ways to give you additional resources. So yeah, that's kind of a private conversation. Here's the thing with cheating, I don't expect you guys, I want you guys actually to collaborate when it comes to labs. And I know as we are being remote that, you don't really have that opportunity to sit next to your neighbor and ask them questions or whatever the case may be. Frankly, as when it comes to lab material, the more collaboration, I think, the better. With that being said, I mean, I'm not looking for one person to do the lab and then everybody turn in the same one, copied and paste. Some of it's going to kind of look like that, but usually there's enough small differences between each of you that I could tell, it's original work. When it comes to the quizzes and things, that's kind of the one place where it stands out, especially if there's like an essay question. So, don't copy and paste each other's answers. Don't copy and paste things from like Wikipedia. Be original. I think that's my kind of final thought on that. And, again, this is a mature group. You're with me now in the advanced stages of this program. So hopefully any bad actors have kind of not joined or continued on in a way. All right, let's keep going. Just to quickly share, there's a lot of special programs. I will let you guys read through these, as you see fit. There's some financial aid, counseling, so much stuff available to you. Even though you're taking an online course, there's tons and tons of material out there. There's tons of resources out there. Some of it's online, some of it's on campus. It's up to you to reach out if you need help. Beyond me, right? Beyond me. Okay, so that's Geography 21. Let's take a look at Geography 22 now. And you'll notice that in your Canvas, it says 21 and 22, right? So as you're looking through Canvas, it all kind of feels like one course as far as the stream is concerned, but the intention is that this is technically 2 courses into one, right? As far as Canvas is concerned. Let me open this. And here we go. Okay, so another 3 units. Pretty cool, right? In this instance, you're going to get 6 units out of this one semester with me. I know you paid for 6 units, so from that regard, you're like, well, duh, of course it's 2 classes. So yeah, just making it clear that even though the Canvas experience might feel like one class, you are technically going through 2 classes. Advanced GIS is what this is called. Similar thing for office hours. I mean, a lot of this stuff is kind of the same syllabus that we just looked at, but I have a couple, I have some things that are differentiating this course from the other one. Obviously, there's no textbook. That's the same type of information, same message here. Software, again, same thing. Although we will get into some programming language programming software in this course. But that's kind of like a secondary piece of ArcGIS Pro. So as long as your ArcGIS Pro is working, you're good to go. Okay, now here we go. So practical hands-on, more advanced applications, vectors, grids, digital image formats. Again, a lot of this stuff is like, it's all blended together. I guess that's the best way I could put it, because there's things in the remote sensing that are related to digital image formats, and there's things in 21 that are related to what we're going to do in 22. So don't take any of this information as gospel, like we have to do every single one of these things. They're really highlights for what the course is supposed to be about. And again, my message is, look, I want to share with you guys the experience of several different expose you to several different things. That's my intention here, right? So I'm going to skip through the learning outcomes. You guys can read through these, as well as the you should be able to do kind of stuff. Again, all of these comes from a course outline and record. What's the biggest difference between 21 and 22? Okay, in 22, and this is going to be as you're going through Canvas, I'm going to show you here in a second. As you're going through Canvas, it's going to be kind of like about the halfway point of the course, late March-ish, we can say. But for 22, we're going to explore what's called Python programming. Okay, Python programming. Python is a program itself. Programming means you're getting in and writing scripts. So Python programming for GIS. What the heck does that mean, right? Like, I didn't think this was a computer science course. And of course it's not, but Python is really come around as being, I don't want to say necessary, but highly valuable as a skill set, right? At least in terms of in a GIS environment, right? So if you're going against somebody for a job and you know how to do some Python scripting, some Python programming, and the other person doesn't, it's going to help you out a lot. And the reason is because Python helps you, where am I looking for? It helps you automate. That's the word I'm thinking of. It helps you automate your process. What I mean by that is, it's like you're taking, maybe you run several small steps in a row on the GUI. You click buffer, click raster analysis, click several things in a row, and then boom, you get something out of it, right? Cool. You ultimately, it took you 7 steps, seven click-throughs to get that one result. Well, with programming, as you're going to learn, you could kind of set up each one of those steps in a very systematic order in this program, and then say run, and it's just going to go bang, 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 and just knock them all out and give you the end result in a matter of seconds. It's pretty amazing stuff. So I like this little, I pulled this and put a little bit of my own words in here, but I like this from a blog I was reading from Esri. It says, the beginner's guide to Python, ArcGIS Pro. And let's start with a disclaimer, because this is like my story personally, okay? I'm not a programmer. I didn't take any programming classes in school. I didn't learn I didn't really take any computer science. Wasn't really my interest. Frankly, even to this day, I don't really care about it too much. But as I just mentioned, some of the what are called pain points that you'll go through as an analyst in GIS, you'll start to recognize and appreciate the value of knowing some of this stuff. So I'm not a programmer, okay? And my exposure came by needing to do it for GIS, right? So I'm a graduate student as well right now, and I had to take a programming class for my requisites. So that's what I did. and I took one for GIS, and now I want to share that with you guys, right? So I've learned some tricks recently, And again, this is coming from my voice as a person that's done this for over a dozen years, 16 years now. And I kind of avoided programming like it was the plague because it was very scary to me. But once I embraced it and took it on, was really kind of forced to, but it really opened my eyes up quite a bit to, you know, some very, very possible things that weren't, some very valuable possibilities that weren't there before. So I realized how much there is to gain from having more direct lines of communication. So more direct influence, basically telling the computer exactly what you want it to do. And so here is my goal. I want to teach you a little bit of programming, okay? Something that you can take with you and tie it into your ArcGIS Pro experience. Now, if you take your programming from here, take your Python stuff from here, and you expand that beyond much more than just ArcGIS Pro, hey, more power to you, right? It's not something I'm personally going to do or have interest in doing, but you know, I think the intention here is to introduce it to you for several weeks, get you to get some practice under your belt with programming, and then, you know, have it be something useful that where you can execute your own scripts and you know, have something come out that you go, that was really helpful, right? That kind of changed my approach from, and I know you guys don't have as much experience as I do, but I promise you, learning some of this will make a big difference, okay? So let's see, repetitive workflows, you know, you sit there, you're wasting time, or not wasting time, but spending a lot of time, right? Just click, 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 click. I think I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. Automate your workflows. You know, here's the thing, Python integrates seamlessly with ArcGIS, and it really does. It's amazing. And I'm not saying this is going to be easy. By no means is this meant to be the simple kind of click around and you get a result kind of thing. There's going to be, but I'm going to try to give you guys as much guidance as possible. I will likely share with you some kind of step-by-step videos, at least kind of introductions. Still have to produce some of this stuff as I'm speaking now on this day. But my goal is to, like I said, expose you to several weeks of it so that you can kind of start from nothing and then kind of know from this, from where you've gone till now, you kind of know, oh, those are cool tools, those are useful tools, you know, those are things I want to do in GIS, and then kind of stack them on top of each other, automate a workflow, boom, now you have something that's really, really fast, really efficient, and does and gets you exactly what you want. Cool. Yeah, right. All right, don't be scared off. I promise. Like I said, I will be here for you. Just you have to knock on my door. You have to ping me on the email and say, hey man, I need help with this. I just don't get it, or whatever. I don't care. Just reach out and I'll be there. Okay. Whatever I can to be there. This stuff is the exact same that we were just looking at, so I'm not going to repeat anything else here. Let's get into Canvas now. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Back to here. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So on Canvas, we go back to home. Okay. The way I've set things up is very much like what you've experienced with Geography 20, where everything's broken down into modules, and the modules have a start date, which is a Monday. Bang, 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 bang. Sometimes the modules are 2 or 3 weeks long, depending on how much content and material is in there. Sometimes they're just 1 week, right? So if it's just 1 week, like this one, map presentation, it's one lab. Yeah, one lab, which is creating map layouts. You know, you've got your course information here. If you need to fix your online account, this stuff is the same as before. Here's my office hours link. Again, if you've already got ArcGIS Online, you've already got ArcGIS Pro downloaded, these are just there. You don't need them, but they're there if you don't have that stuff already. So the first Okay, 1, 2, 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks are these are how do I want to call these? It's not rasters and it's not programming, but it's still techniques that are valuable to you, right? So they're kind of tertiary labs that are things you can use for, I guess, again, this is more exposure, let's put it this way. I want you to learn how to digitize in ArcGIS Online. That's what this is. You could carry over those digitization skills into Pro. You know, this is like a very simple pick out a polygon, pick a polygon style and go through and create a map. But I mean, as far as the way this works, I'm not going to do this step by step. As far as it works, you've got your kind of lessons and objectives here, where I share what I want you guys to do. If there are any typos here or things that like are out of place and you're like, what? That doesn't even make sense of what the rest of the module looks like, please let me know, because it might have been copied and pasted from somewhere else and I didn't have a chance to put my eyes on it. But yeah, so that's the way this works, right? You go through one of these one at a time. I mean, you could click the next thing, but I don't know. I kind of like seeing it all at once and then picking which ones I want to go to. Some of these have videos, right? Here's a video for this lab. Some of them do not. The field labs, I did not create any video for it. I think my, although there's just get to know field maps, right? This is just a little thing from Esri. I'll put stuff like this in here sometimes. But yeah, here's the lab field maps, right? You click on this and you go out and you do the lab. You could download it. Let's go back. Okay, so when it comes to sharing, just like before, I want you guys to come into your, and again, look at the dates for your labs. So Sunday, 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 right? When it comes to completing and submitting your work, you're going to come here to the discussion. You're going to say share my field maps or share my whatever, whatever the lab is. And you click on it, and then you're going to put your reply here. I want you to have either a screenshot or an embedded code of your map or both, the link, and then a little description based on, you know, what was your experience like, that kind of thing, right? So it's pretty neat to see, right? Last time when we did the intro course, and by the end of the week, you've got, you know, 20 of these different responses. Now, this is a much smaller group. There's only 12 of you, so obviously it's not going to be as dense as the Geography 20 group was. But you're all kind of taking that next step, so I expect a little bit higher or a little bit better quality coming from you. Okay, so once we get into late February, that's when we're going to start doing raster work. So intro to rasters, I've got its own lab here. And yeah, I've even got a video for this. Again, so the unique thing about these two courses is you're going to find some modules are not like others. Like there might be some little tweaks to each module. So just make sure, I guess what I'm saying is, make sure you look over the entire module before you just do the lab and move on. For example, intro to rasters, I have a quiz here, right? I might move this quiz to a different place and just make it an exam outright. I haven't decided that fully. But I guess what I'm trying to say is really pay attention to what's in the module. And once you get to this stage, that's when the amount of work is going to start to ramp up. Like I said, this is technically 2 courses that we're talking about here. So expect there to be more work to do as you get more familiar with the course as time goes on. Let's minimize that. So look at this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this is spring break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 modules related to remote sensing. Okay, 5 modules related to remote sensing, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 labs. Anyways, you'll see it when you get here. Like this one's got, yeah, 2 different. Some of these aren't complete all the way, but here's one where you've got 2 labs that you're supposed to do in 1 week. Actually, that's the way I've got this set up. March 5th, March 5th, March 5th. So just saying, just putting it out there. Sometimes you're gonna have more than 1 lab in a week, right? They're gonna have more than 1 lab in a week. Not every week, right? Not every week. It's like every other kind of a thing. So you've got all your, because I had to condense this stuff. Like I said, I had to condense it down, right, to make this work. So you've got all your remote sensing stuff here. Then we take our spring break. Now, all of these weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then including the final project is where I'm saying, okay, now we're going to do some programming work. Okay, some programming work, as well as that final project, which is like your story map. So that's kind of, like I said, the culmination or the summary of everything you've learned kind of a thing. Obviously, these are blank. If you look on the, where is it? Student view. It's going to look a little bit different than what I just shared with you. So like for you guys, you'll notice that things are locked week by week, and I'm going to try to stick to that. But yeah, I'm going to fill in several of these items before you have to get there. That's what I have to do. So it won't affect you as far as, you know, what am I supposed to do? I'll have it out there at least a day or 2 beforehand. But my intention is to get this stuff filled in like pretty soon here on my side. Cool. Okay. Let me just show you real quickly a Python script. So I will be right back. And let's see, can I do this? Stop share. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to come right back. Okay, I'm back now. Putting my screen back here. So what we have on the screen, sorry, I know the print is kind of small when you're viewing this, but this is a script that I wrote that essentially what you're going to find is I'll show you guys what each one of these kind of uniquely colored texts mean. Try to break things down. There's about 5 or 6 colors here, and each one has a different purpose and use. But essentially what I did was I ran, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 different processes. I don't know what the right pronunciation is, but 6 different things that I had to do in order to get the end results that I wanted. And in this case, what happened was I started with a raster, and the raster was broken down into what's called classifications. So one classification of the raster was called a building, and one classification was called a road. So this was like in a neighborhood, and I had several buildings, several roads. What's called classified. You'll learn all about that too. But what I wanted to do was take that information and then convert it to a vector format, and then also convert it into vectors to start with, and then move it over to what's called AutoCAD, CAD. You know, CAD is one of those things that I wish we had had more time. If we hadn't had to combine the classes, I would have put some CAD related material in here, but given the scope of what we were kind of dealt with in this semester, there was one thing I had to move off, remove from the chopping block, and that was it. But nevertheless, what I'm going to show you is basically taking something in a raster form, which was totally different than what the end result ended up being. And I had to run these several processes. If I would have gone into ArcGIS Pro, this would have taken, I don't know, 45 minutes to do this process, then this process, then this process, you know, clicking the menus, selecting all the items, putting the paths every single time, right? Waiting for the process to actually run. So I wrote out this big script of this code here, 85 lines. And I'm going to show you right now how simple it is to get the results. Obviously, it takes a while to get proficient at this, but this is what I'm intending. This is what I want you guys to be able to do, something similar to this. So what you're looking at here is called idle. This is a Python type of program. If I run it like this, we'll see the we'll see the program kind of come out here, and this is like the progress. Every single one of these blue, I can't even speak fast enough. Every single one of these blue little call outs here is telling me that one of my processes is done. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, and then just one little like congratulations. But I mean, look at how quick that just happened. I'm gonna run it one more time to show you guys once again, right? So if I hit run, whoops, go back to here. Okay, ready and run, boom. So watch this, 1, 2. 11 seconds and it's done, right? 11 seconds to run 6 unique processes and automate that workflow. That's what I just did. I automated, you know, the work. I was establishing a workflow and I completely automated it to go from point A to point Z, right? That's the intention. And, you know, this is just one unique kind of set of processes I have for this end goal. But that's what we came up with, and that's what I want you guys to be able to do. Hopefully watching that showed you the kind of power that you're going to be able to unleash, you know, by learning some of this stuff. All right, I think this video ended up being much longer than I wanted it to, but there's so much information considering this is a technical course and we've got really 2 courses in one here that we had to cover. So hope you enjoyed. I hope that this semester goes well for you guys. Like I said, reach out, get to know me, just, you know, whatever it is. Like I already know several of you, but here's the chance. Oh, I didn't even say it, right? There are still lots of GIS jobs out there. There are. You might not land the one that you apply for right away, but stick with it. And if you want one, just really be in touch with me. I promise, you know, I want to help you as much as possible. And so if that means we sit together and we work on your resume or pass it back and forth and I give you some recommendations, I'm in touch with several partners, so I can help you guys get jobs if that's what you're wanting to do. Last thing related to that in a way, if you're moving to a university after this, and you have questions about, you know, the GIS journey and the credits and they transfer and not transfer kind of a thing, reach out to me, ping me, let me know. And if there's some kind of, you know, concerns or questions that your advisors at the universities have that we need to square away and they need to talk to somebody like me, like, don't hesitate to put my name in there and I'll talk to them. Okay. Let's stop sharing as I'm just speaking to this little screen. Anyways, okay, that's it. Enjoy, have a good rest of your time, and I will see you guys this semester. Hope you're doing well, and this will be great for you. Bye for now.